Welcome to Channel AMAC, your insight to the Australian visa system. G'day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested in migrating to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side, so once about all the updates and news, you'll be the first one getting all the insight. Alright, welcome to the date of the 7th of December 2024. This is the day that the new skills and demand visa has finally been implemented. Now notice that there has been rumors and talks about the delay and postpone of this new skills and demand visa. Well, it was they were looking into the actual parliamentary debate, and looks like there have been some kind of delay. But anyhow, I don't know how the actual government has actually functioned, and how others agents and specialists has actually said about the potential postpone. However, it's actually live now. So today I am gonna actually update all the skills and demand visa. I believe there are still some shorts required to be updated, because I don't think there's a little bit of stuff they haven't really been updated yet. But we will soon have that all done, and I shall have all the detail be explained in a specific single video towards the end of the year, because there's just too many. They have put it into 3 different pathways, so I will put that in a specific one video. But today's video, we're gonna talk to you about the general skills and demand visa, the whole package altogether. So it's gonna be a little bit lengthy, but more general, not into detail. Again, we'll have that detailed in the future video I'm gonna do. So ensure that you subscribe to my channel so you get the all detail, everything transparent, so you don't get things wrong and you prevent yourself to get your visa refused or rejected. Okay, now all right, let's go in there. As you can see, there's a blue message. It says on the 7th of December, skills and demand visa replace the temporary skill shortage, and which is all the thing that we are looking at now. So there are main 3 pathway as expected from the migration strategic planning, and we have done some information introduction previously. Now it's finally here, and there's no more the short-term list and also the medium long-term list. So every single the only thing that I think the government had cheated is that they kept the subclass for way 2. They didn't even bother to change the number. I think that's the way they actually skipped to go through parliamentary debate, rather than just insert in a legislative instrument. I think that's how they did it, and they all they did is they replace the name. Okay, skills and demand, replacing the previous temporary shortage visa, so the TSS, and now it's a skills and demand, and we call it short SID. SID. Well, if we change the government next year again, will they change the name again? Well, perhaps. That's all they do. They love to rebrand whatever that is. For example, Immigration Department used to call Department of Citizenships and Multiculturalism, and used to call Department of Borders. Anyway, now it's called Department of Home Affairs. It's just anyway, it's just rebranding. All right, so there's 3 main pathway. One's the core skills stream. So that's the one that we gotta match with the core skills occupation list. So that's CSO that we have done a specific video couple days ago, and you may want to go in there and check out I'm not gonna go through the list there. And there's a specialist skill stream, and there's a labor agreement stream. Labor agreement stream is basically just a labor agreement. That's all the dharma and things, but we'll go through a generic stuff with you today. All right, so this first one is the specialist skill stream. Now this one basically we can before we do that, we just jump back there. Now, because there's no more short-term and long-term or medium-term, so all the visa cost is now aligned with the same amount. So previously, the short-term is cheaper, and the medium long-term is more expensive. Now it's all $3,115. Remind you, there's a bank surcharge on the credit card that's 1.4%. A lot of people, when we issue the invoice, people ask, well, why is it the number different? Because there's, government just don't want to pay for the bank charges, but the applicant required to be paid. And there's also another surcharge from the payer's side as well, so you might want to ensure that too. All right, so the specialist skill stream, let's go to eligibility. Now there's no more age requirement. However, I think there will be an age requirement if you wanted to become a permanent resident. That's under subclass 1A6, which has not been changed unless the new government want to do something different, but we will refer a new video in the future on that one there. So for all the SID visa, there is no age requirement. So if you're 100 years old, if you got an employer in Australia, no problem, you can come. If you're only 5 years old and you got employment, yes, you may, but you probably won't meet other criteria. So anyway, no age requirement there. You must have a whole appropriate visa, no rejection or whatever the visa issued previously. You need to be sponsored and nominated by an Australian employer, be nominated by the employer. Again, you have to have a relevant qualification and skill. So for example, if you're nominated as CEO, for example, of a company, now you need to have the certain management qualification, and also you need to have the 1 year. So they have dropped from 2 years of work experiences down to 1 year, which is better, it's easier, and it's good for those trade vet courses graduates. Once you have done it, you only got 18 months of 485 visa. If you got accrue 1 year of work experiences, you can actually do a 482 to SID visa. So that's a good news for those vet graduate. But if you wanted to apply for a vet student now, don't do it, because you're likely to get rejected because of the new not the cap, they don't call it cap, but the de facto cap. If you want to know about student visa, I've done a specific video previously. Anyhow, now some occupations still require to go through a skill assessment. Now that's mostly all the trades, and there are specific countries required to be done. There's some countries you don't need to do it. So for example, China, Hong Kong, and I think Zimbabwe, Fiji, and the South Africa. And if you're coming from those countries as a trades occupation, you're required to get that skill assessment done there. You need to have health insurance, character checks, and all that. That's the generic. And then we got to go through English. I think that the only thing is the English page hasn't been updated, because they're still talking about short-term, as you can see, short-term, medium-term stream and labor agreement stream. So I think that's still the wrong one, but I think the short term will focus on the core skill. Maybe they just need to change the name there. Okay, so if you have core skills, then is it called core skill? Yeah, core skills. If you're a core skills, then you need to get IELTS 5 and at least 4.5 across each band. If you're in a specialist, you need to get at least 5. So what's the difference? This is at least 4.5, and this is at least 5 in each band. So anyway, not much of differences there. Now let's jump into the next one, is the core skills. Core skill is the not the specialist one, but specialist one does have a requirement on the salary. I don't know why they put in the separate web page, which is going to confuse people. I think they should really insert this one into the actual page, because in the specialist page, it doesn't talk about the salary requirement, which is definitely required to be put in here. Otherwise, they should have put it. Oh, it's not. That's the cost. There's no salary here. I don't think there is, but they should put somewhere. Otherwise, it's going to confuse people there. So that's the thing. That's a little thing that I'm talking about. They haven't really perfected the web page information there, because I don't know, it's just the government. Anyway, a salary for the specialist skills salary required to be above 135,000 annual salary or income. Otherwise, you won't be able to meet the requirement as the specialist pathway. So that's basically it. And usually you will get the specialist skill pathway. Usually will get you a quicker process That's what they said. I don't know how quick they're gonna be. Anyway, okay, let's go to the core skills. The core skill will be the more generic employment type of visa that will match towards most of the 482 previous visas. Now, talking about the special and the core, what is the difference? I think a specialist has been used to actually define where previously there has been a lot of global talent GTI visa applicant lodged, but they cannot meet the Fair Work high income threshold. That's 175,000. But if your income is above 135,000 and you got an Australian employer, you might as well just go skills stream. I understand the specialist skills stream is not permanent residency visa straight away. However, if you get a job in Australia, 2 years later, you're able to transfer yourself to a permanent resident anyway. But provided you need to meet the age requirement, and we're gonna go have additional video on that one, in a specific video on that one in the future. So make sure you subscribe and share with your mates. All right, the core skills stream. Now let's jump in there. There's not much of different. The eligibility. The only thing that's required here different is that you need to have the occupation. Everything's the same. You need to be nominated, all the same. You got a 1 year work experience, skill assessment for the tradesmen in the specific countries, and then the only thing that's different is that you are required to be nominated under the core skill occupation list. Now that's the only thing that's different. Now we have gone through. There's a new occupation CISO, so I'm pretty sure that's all in there. So that's there. Now I've done a specific video on that one. There's 400 something. That's basically every single occupation that you can actually find in the in Australia. So the only biggest loser, I think some people say, well, social fair worker is not in there, is it? And also the cafe restaurant manager is not in there. And the rest, everything else should all be there. And make sure you need to meet the TISMIT requirement, which is, again, let's go back to the salary page. The TISMIT currently is sitting at, here we go, it's 73,150 bucks per year. You need to be employed and nominated with a job offer of that kind of salary or above. Otherwise, you won't be able to actually get the visa there. All right. Now, last but not least, let's go to the last one. It's the labor agreement stream, which is the same with the previous one. I thought they had the other different name on the strategic migration strategic planning, but I think they kept it as the same. So it's the same as before. This is the labor agreement, so they call it LA pathway or LA stream, and a lot of people know about the DAMA, the Designated Regional Designated Agreement. DAMA migration. It's just for those regional governments. They have a separate agreement with the Commonwealth. That's the federal government. That's the Department of Immigration required to, for those specific regional, they can have a different kind of agreement. But it's very complex. I've done a specific video on this one as well. I will do a new one just to refresh everything. That means you need to have a labor agreement. That's a very long topic. I'll need to have a specific video just for this one. That means the nominated person is a regional or a specific industry, for example, the meat industry, for example, some agri industry, and for example, in the northern Queensland, they want a tour guy, okay, but because of the new core skills, they have actually consolidate all the occupation for the short term, medium, long term, and also the regional in all together. So do they still need to go through a labor agreement? Perhaps not. They could actually go through a general core skills. So the labor agreement basically giving out some exemptions or relaxation, for example, age. However, the core skill is no age anymore. But if you wanted to be aged and also wanted to transfer into a permanent residency, probably need to go through labor agreement. They will have a specific agreement between the government and the regional or the specific company. You need to have at least 1 year work experience. Again, that's the same thing. You get nominated and things like that. So, and there's some perhaps some relaxation on the English requirement as well. So, labor agreement is more about giving some relaxation, exemption, or waiver for a specific requirement, which the core skill has a higher. For example, just giving you an example, if the core skill has the tour guide or in the list, but for example in Cairns, the general pay rates for tour guide could not meet the testament requirement, then that specific industry required to enter into a labor agreement specifically just for this one only, okay, with the government of Australia, to actually have that bar dropped, and also for the age limit to drop in order to transfer into a permanent residency. So that's a very specific agreement, and there are not many out there, and generally very hard to find anyway, but this is how the instrument is to be there to facilitate the Australian employer to actually get skilled forces into the region. Anyway, that's for the new skills in demand visa video. Now, as I said, in the coming future few weeks, I will have more detailed video to be done in specific pathways and specific topics to actually explain everything. So ensure that you subscribe to the channel, and should you have more question query, more than welcome to leave comment right down below, and I'll see you next video. Goodbye.